Yeah, so before understanding today's concepts, so let's try to recollect it what we were understanding yesterday, and then we try to complete that. That's the demo on Route 53. Yeah, but what we were understanding about Route 53 is, yeah, Route 53 is one of the client-side load balancer. Yes, it is like as a client-side load balancer. So on the base of the like a request which has been received for the domain related the records, it is going to verifying it. And as per the records and within the records like policies, whatever it has been defined, and as per the policies, yeah, records and the policies. So it is going to identify the backend resources that is about either IPv4 address or IPv6 or whatever that the record you have mapped it. So that is going to take the resource, and resource will be shared to the client by the Route 53. Then from the browser, the request will be routed to the load balancer, and load balancer to that EC2 or EC2 the backend components. Then coming back the response to the client. So this is the actual process which we are trying to understand it about DNS service, that is Route 53. Yeah, so this was the flow of execution. Yes, whenever we hit that the DNS name, a domain name, the request will be routed to the Route 53, and Route 53 is going to return back that the response about the IP address of the backend for this domain, and then browser is going to use that IP address to connect to the server and to get the response. But important records which we should know this is, yes, the common records mostly which will use it. A type of record, 4 A types of the records, CNAME record, aliases. So A type of record, when do we use it, is URL, that is domain name mapping to the backend IPv4 address. Yes, if I'm having the server IP address, some static IP address, and that for the static IP address, if I would like to map into the URL, then what is the type of the record we can create? It is A type of record. And 4 A types of the records, that is URL to IPv6. So IPv6, that's if you have this like IPv6, the server IP, I mean, yeah, IoT devices or any kind of IPv6 if you have, and that's if you would like to map to that URL, then 4A types of the records. Then URL to URL CNAME, URL to AWS resource, that is normally we create a type, but within that a type we choose the alias, that is URL to AWS resource to map it in Route 53. Yeah, there are some important record sets which we are understanding. And yes, whenever we are creating a record, the record sets, not only these type of the records, and we have the policies also. Yes, routing policies. So simple routing policy, failover routing policy, that is active passive, and a geolocation based routing policy, and a latency based routing policies, the weight based routing policies, multi values, that is multiple policies if you like to define it. So there are like the different policies which we have. So all these things that we are understanding yesterday. But as we were having the GoDaddy that site, the issue, the where we were not able to talk it. But today is, so I'm in the different network and I'm able to access it. So we are good. So let's go ahead having this demonstration of it. So if you have the domain in GoDaddy, so how you can map that domain with Route 53. As you are understanding this domain, you can register within AWS also. Yes, within the AWS also you can register for the domains. But as some cost point of view, or like Yes, I mean, easy to manage it point of view. Some third-party providers are also providing the domain registry. Yes, one of the like famous in India, that is GoDaddy. So what are the domain you want that you can try to search it here. Suppose yesterday we were talking about it. I need this domain. Yes, you can search it. So it is going to searching about the domain and what are the possible options and what is the cost of it. So that is going to give that all the details. Then if you're okay with the domain, then we can register with the GoDaddy. So it is taking time. So let's wait. Let me try to give it one more time, the request. See, GoDaddy is taking more time to give that all the domains information. But if I search it same domain, so let's search for that through Amazon. So it's very fast. I'm not sure why the GoDaddy is taking the time to load that all the domains. Okay, so first you can search it, the domain. That's and you can even in GoDaddy also you can do that the same thing. Like then they show that once they load that all the possible domains which are available, then you can select it and you can see this the pricing models also. The per year, what is the cost? First year, what is the cost? And after that's next second year onwards, what is the cost? Make sure about it. All those the points verifying that. Yeah, first year they say that something 199 rupees, but second year onwards that's something per year they take it 500 or 1000. That is on the base of the top level domain which are going to take it that. Yeah, check it all those things, and once you have taken that the domain, then if you log into this the GoDaddy with about your account details, then you see this about your products. Yeah, once you log in, then you will see this about your products and you can go to the my product section, or you can just click on this here. Yeah, manage my products. If you click on it, then you will see that's all the domains which you bought it here. But I'm not showing that what are the domains which I'm having here. But just as to get familiarity with GoDaddy, yes, you can. Once account has been created and once you bought that about your domains, yes, you can go to that the my products and you can find about your domain. Yeah, so this is a domain for the demonstration point of view, the which I am having, rnstech.co.in. And here you can see this domain related. You can go to the dashboard and you can go to the domain section and you can host website also. That means they are giving that website hosting service also. So if we would like to launch it, yes, they're saying that, I mean, I didn't have that any application which has been hosted in this domain. And they are giving that option, create a coming soon page in the minutes. Yeah, get started and you can create. some coming soon page, or you can create a website. So these are all the services they are providing, the GoDaddy, yes, website. And on this domain, you can create, I mean, you can take that email also, like technologies.com. With that domain, we need to manage it info at the rate of, or some support at the rate of, or some the training at the rate of, like that. You would like to create emails on this domain, yes, you can go to this section and you can request that emails also, or you can create emails also. But that will be, check it about that. Sometimes they give the free offers on the first year, or some amount of the charge they do that. But yes, so you can just browse that details and you can use it. Yeah, once the domain has been taken now, but this domain, I don't want that the host any website here. So my application is running in AWS. So you have deployed EC2 instances with about your application, and with the backend RDS database, and a front-end load balancer with auto scaling group. That's everything you have created. But domain is in GoDaddy, as we are talking that. So you have taken the domain here. Now this domain, you need to map into that about your AWS load balancer, which you are creating that. Then how do I do that? Yeah, first of all, what I do is, in AWS, we'll create quickly load balancer with auto scaling group, launching with one or two EC2 instances. Then that load balancer we create, or we need to map it to this. Still it is going on. So we need to map to this domain. That means if I hit that rnsec.co.in, then that's the whatever that application which you are hosting in the auto scaling group with the load balancer, that's application has to be displayed. But now if I try to access that rnsec.co.in, I don't have any application which is hosted. This is an empty domain now. I mean, empty website. So I didn't host any the application on this domain, rnsec.co.in. But my application I would like to host on the, I will come back to this Route 53. What do we do? That is, we'll go to that load balancer and we'll quickly create load balancer and auto scaling group with the two instances. Already we have the launch template, right? Using that launch template, we launch this two instances, two in different availability zones, and we'll map with the load balancer. Are you following, everyone? So please type this following in the chat window. See, you are the hosting the complete application from the starting to the ending. So that is the beauty of the cloud. In the minutes you can launch it. Good. I see that. Yes, some people are following that. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me launch it quickly. We go to that auto scaling group, or let's go to that EC2. Let me change the region to the Mumbai. Let's go to the auto scaling groups and create auto scaling group. So this is a web server auto scaling group, and we are going to use the launch template, that is web server template already which we are using, and the latest modification point of view default 4, but this is and the T2 small. I don't want the T2 small, that is a fast one. I'm going to use the version 3 which is going to launch the T2 micro. Okay, good. So let's go ahead. And VPC with availability zones, I would like to launch it in 1A and 1B. in the two availability zones. I don't want to change it any template. Yes, let's go ahead to the next. And I would like to create a load balancer and attach to a new load balancer, application load balancer. And this is ALB, App Server Load Balancer. And this is internet facing. And yes, the network mapping point of view, availability zones, which are going to use it 1A and 1B. Yeah, listener is on 80. Whenever it is received, we would like to map to the target group, that is web server target group. Good. And health checks. Yes, let's use it as turn on, but don't use it this much time. Let me go for that. Something 60 seconds. So health check grace period. Yeah, group metrics collection, but this is the CloudWatch. If you'd like to define all that, you can use it. But for the timing, I don't want all the things. I need the two instances quickly. I need the desired two, minimum two, maximum also two. Policies, I don't need that. And if you'd like to apply the policies, you can apply that. Scaling, no, I don't want that. The protection from it and notifications. So already we have that's the notification. Yes, the Ravi's one. I'm going to use the same notification. So Ravi, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, good. No issues, but I mean, anyway, just yeah, good. So creating auto scaling group with the two instances. Let's wait it to get it that the load balancer. Yeah, this one we were doing this in the previous sections, the auto scaling group with the load balancer and instances which we should get two. Yes, two are starting, but they're all not yet running. I hope so. They're all just initiated. Yes, they're all just initiated. So let's wait some time to get ready of this. Then we take this load balancer URL. We'll configure at this domain level. That is about whatever we are talking that rnstech.co.in. If I hit it, then it has load about our application. Interesting, right? So we are hosting that the entire application as the real-time way with the complete domain name, domain to the load balancer to that auto scaling group, within that auto scaling group with the policies managing the application with the virtual machines. Yeah, still it is continuing that. Let's go ahead. Okay, let's check it. The load balancer. Is it the ready? Let me click on this. That should be better. Still provisioning. And once it is ready, we'll take this DNS name and let's hit that. So once this load balancer is ready, what do we do? That is okay. It's able to route it. 1A. Let me check it 1B status also. Yes, 1B is also it is able to route it. Good. The load balancer with auto scaling group in the two instances in the two different availability zones with the scaling approaches and with the high availability approaches, we have designed or we have deployed the application. This application, yes, like here we are using about it HTTP, some sample application, but the developers actually they need to give this application, right? The application wise, don't worry about it, but the process understand it. Within the EC2 instance, what is there? That is that application information and the services that is as per the application will configure it. But here we are working with Apache. Fine. Now this load balancer URL, if I share it to my clients, then they cannot understand it. What is this URL and all that, right? So we don't want to give it this to the clients. So if I give it like a rnsec.co.in, easily we can remember it and we can access whenever we need it. Yeah, now that is a mapping. We are going to do that. Yes, now I have that. The domain which I have taken in the GoDaddy. So this is my domain rnsec.co.in. So once you go to this domain, so once the domain is available, what we need to do that is to map into this load balancer. Now this is the load balancer URL. We need to map into that. So go to the Route 53 service. Now my domain is in GoDaddy, but I'm going to create the mapping to my load balancer in AWS. Yes, as we are understanding about it, we need to create a hosted zone. So go to the hosted zone sections, create one hosted zone and give the same domain name. It should be matched exactly the domain which we have that. This is the public domain anyway. So yes, give the same domain name and you can add the description of this. And this is the public hosted zone. Yes, if you'd like to give this the DNS name to the clients, then we need to define this hosted zone as a public one. But internal VPC level or networking level, if you'd like to define, we need to go for the private hosted zone. Yes, let's go ahead with the public hosted zone. And if you'd like to add the tags for this one, this hosted zone, yes, we can add it. But let's continue. Create hosted zone. Yeah, so we have created. So if you go to the hosted zones, yes, rnstech.co.in, what are the domain name we have? With the domain name, yes, the public type of the domain we have created. And internally, if you see this, it is created 2 records. So what are those 2 records? Let's go to this hosted zone. Yeah, so here you can see there's like 2 records. You can see this for this hosted zone. This is the hosted zone name with the domain name. And in the record section, you can see there's 2 records. One is type as NS. This one we say that name server. NS that stands for name server. And SOA, that is some I'm not sure exactly the description of it. So SOA related record has been created. There are the 2 records which are available. So now what we need to do is domain is in GoDaddy. My domain is in the GoDaddy and I have created just a record set. The hosted zone in AWS Route 53. How do I map it is now these name servers. So whatever it is providing by that AWS team for this hosted zone, these name server details we need to take it and we need to define in GoDaddy. Go to this DNS and here you see that name servers details, name servers section. So once you log into that about your GoDaddy and go to the about your product. So in the product, you can see that the domain, if you click on this domain, then this page which will be displayed. And here, the DNS section, you can see this name servers. So here by default, it is providing by GoDaddy name servers. They're all the default name servers from the GoDaddy because you have taken the GoDaddy name servers, it has been added. But now I don't want to use it, the GoDaddy name servers, the records to manage it, routing rules to define it with the policies. So let's change the name servers. Yeah, by default, it is using the GoDaddy name servers and it is in the recommended. But I don't have this. I don't want to use the name servers of the GoDaddy. I will use it my own name servers. But what are the name servers? Yes, let's go back to that and let's copy one by one the name servers which are providing by that AWS record set for this domain and copy it and paste it here. one by one. Don't copy all the 4 in one name server. So we have the total 4, which is providing by AWS. So take it this one by one name server. These are all for a high availability point of view. They didn't give that only one route, right? As a DNS, it should be available, high availability. They have given that multiple. That is anyway, AWS team is going to take care of that, manage in the background about this DNS. This is the first entry point, right? So it is managing in the different the domains, the different locations. Okay, that is anyway. So let's take it all these. Once you created the hosted zone for the domain, AWS is providing that the name server records. Take these name server records, and wherever you have the domain. Suppose you would have created the domain in Hostinger. Hostinger is another provider. Or yesterday we were talking that the CNAME. So once domain has been taken, and if you go to the domain settings, you see that the DNS, and in the DNS section you will find it name servers. There you can add the name servers of the AWS. Whether you have taken the domain in the GoDaddy or CNAME or Hostinger, doesn't matter that. Yeah, now let's save all the records. I have added the name servers of my AWS Route 53 of that hosted zone. So it is saying that host name has invalid TLD.
There is a dot.
Let me remove that. Yes, the dot. Good catch. Yeah, so by clicking the continue, you consent to updating the name servers for the selected domains. Yes, I'm okay with that, and continue that. Yes, now this name servers have been updated. Your request in the progress. It takes some time to update that all the name servers details. But if you come back once again, the name server section, yes, they all have been updated. We are good with that. So whatever the 4 name records which we have, all have been updated in my GoDaddy domain. What is the domain? rnstech.co.in. Okay, with this now what I have done is, if anyone hits that the rnstech.co.in route to my name servers to find the records, that is AWS Route 53. So the request comes to here and it will be submitted to one of the server. It is routing the traffic to one of the server. But in this server, for this record, for this hosted zone, we need to define the mappings, right? We need to define the mappings as we are talking that A type of record, 4A types of the records, or CNAME record, or Alias types of the records. So we need to create now the records for it. Yes, let's go ahead. But these are all the default records and we cannot delete it. We cannot modify this one. This is providing that whenever we create a domain. But the remaining like A type or CNAME type of records, these things you can create a record. Yes, if you click on the create record, now we are defining the rules. Yes, if anyone hits that rnstech.co.in and it is the request will be submitted to the DNS name server, and the name server once it is received, but it has to be routed right to the backend. Yes, that's rule we are defining here. We are creating a record set. But which domain do you want to define that? Yes, here you can add that subdomains also. Suppose rnstech.co.in is a main domain. But I have that careers.rnstech.co.in that is for the different application, different load balancer. Or I have the something like training.rnstech.co.in. Then I need to route into the different the resource, the backend. If you have this kind of Yes, suppose google.co.in is a main or com. Top level domain is com. But we have that drive.google.com or mail.google.com. If I hit that mail.google.com, it will be redirected to the Gmail application. If I hit that drive.google.com, it will redirect to the Google Drive. That means domain is a main domain, top level domain. If we just talked about it, yes, that com, and then the domain name is Google. But subdomain, mail is a subdomain, a drive is a subdomain. So for this domain, if you have those any subdomains, yes, you can add the subdomain. So it is going to use its that dot representation between it. So keep a blank to create a record for the root domain. So I want that ornashik.co.in, then leave it blank. Okay, now I need that ornashik.co.in. I'm going to use the blank. And as we're talking about it, yes, next you need to select the record type. Which type of the record I'm going to create it. If any request which is coming to that ornashik.co.in, that is root level, the top domain, I would like to route to that. Do you have the backend A type of record? That is IPv4 address, or 4A type of records, that is IPv6 mapping, or CNAME record, routes traffic to another domain name, and a mail server if you'd like to define it, MX. And if you'd like to verify that some kind of, sometimes yes, we need to verify the domain. So we need to add the TXT based specific values to authenticate about your domain. So TXT. So the different types of the records which we have, but mappings, mostly we see that the top three. Either IPv4 mapping, IPv6 mapping, or URL mapping. So now we need to map to the load balancer. Let's go to that. Choose the A type. And if you have that IP address, yes, you can enter that IP address. But I don't have that IP address. I have the AWS resource. But in the demonstration, like as yesterday I was talking about it, all the policies to demonstrate it, I have taken the different EC2 instances and with the different IP addresses. Yes, you can refer that section with the IP addresses mapping. But here today, the load balancer wise, I'm going to show that. Yeah, route to traffic to AWS resource. So AWS resource for mapping is nothing but alias you need to use it. That's why we're saying that alias based routing. So here you are selecting the record type A, but A type normally it supports IPv4, but I don't have this IPv4. I have that AWS resource. Choose that alias and route to traffic to which resources do you want to route it? Do you want to route to that another record? See, if the request is received to this record, do you want to route to that another record? So that's also you can do. And API gateway, App Runner, AppSync, CloudFront, the Elastic Beanstalk, and now yes, application or classic load balancer, or do you have the network load balancer, or S3 website endpoint, or VPC endpoint? Which one you have the resource? Yes, we have the application load balancer. But the application load balancer in which region? In which region we were doing that? Mumbai region. In the Mumbai, yes, what is that load balancer? Yes, this is the load balancer. So now I'm mapping that this is the root domain with the A type alias we are creating for this application load balancer, which we have created in the Mumbai region with this web server. I mean, with this load balancer DNS name. Normally, this is a load balancer, so web server, but it is using the some dual stack something internally. Leave it off that. That is managing by AWS itself. You can see this in the drop down itself. You don't need to. Suppose if I remove that, in the drop down, you can see on the base of the region which was selected, automatically it displays that to the load balancer. Now, as we are talking about it yesterday, policies. Yes, do you want to apply the simple routing policy, or weight based, or geolocation, or latency, or failover? So which one do you want to apply that? Yes, all the policies that I have explained, refer that video. So I'm going to use it a simple routing. And yeah, if you'd like to add another record, you can add it. But let's go ahead creating a record on this. So now we have mapped any request which is coming to that rncheck.co.in. So we are routing to this load balancer. Are you clear about this? A type of record. But don't create that only root, and let's try to create one more also that is recommended. Suppose some clients, what do they do? That is, we use it www.ornashik.co.in, right? So sometimes we enter that directly the domain name. Sometimes we use it www.ornashik.co.in. So add it all the possible records. The client is going to use it sometimes, yes, directly hitting the domain. But another possibility what you have is www.ornish.co.in. Yeah, so define what are the possible the type of yes, like the domains which is using by the client. So with all the possibilities, we need to create a multiple records. Okay, so a type, and I would like to map it to the same load balancer. My resource is the same, but I'm just defining in case the possibility www is also there in the domain. Now I'm just routing to the same node. So all the possibilities you need to identify, and you need to create a records for it. So recommended create for the www also. Now you see this domain, I have that a type of record for rncheck.co.in. If the request comes with this, yes, I'm mapping to this the load balancer. Or if it comes with the www.rncheck.co.in also, I'm routing to the same load balancer. And evaluation and records policies, yeah, so that's about defining the rule. Now let's go ahead. Yes, we have done for this rncheck.co.in. The name servers we have configured. That means whenever we hit that rncheck.co.in, it uses this name server and it routes to this one of the name server. In this name server, we have created records, either rncheck.co.in or www.rncheck.co.in. If the client requests, then we are routing to the load balancer. And now the load balancer, once it receives that, it is on the backend auto scaling group with EC2 instances, and it is going to route to that one of the EC2 instances. Let me hit that now rncheck.co.in. But yes, once you configure that the DNS, normally they say that it takes this 24 hours of the time to get that all the routing rules sometimes. But yes, it is available immediately itself. No issues. But yes, but actually officially they announce it of it. It takes the 24 hours of the time to complete refresh it. But how do I verify it? My domain is successfully, so now this domain is successfully mapped to my load balancer or not is. We can use it on site. What is DNS status, something which I have. Let me just search it in the Google. What is my DNS or something? It is my DNS, yeah. Yeah, so this is the site which you can verify, checking about your the domain is successfully. Suppose you have configured, but now it is loading that we are good. So you see that whenever I'm submitting, now I'm using that sarnesh.co.in. You also can try to use it from about your browser. So now it is available worldwide. My domain is available, and my domain is mapped to that the load balancer and load balancer with auto scaling group. But in that auto scaling group, EC2 instances, I have that simple application. But if I take it that my Ryzen Technologies.com application, if I host it on the EC2 instance, then you will get it Ryzen Technologies.com here, right? That application content, whatever we have, that will be loaded here. The application, okay, that is application team, they come up with that, with the services and all that. But yes, but how do we manage it as a cloud engineer? The flow of executions to configure or to manage the complete hosting of application with the high availability, scalability, and with load balancing. Are you following the points? Did you anyone try to access this one? Is it working to you all? Check it,
Yes, sir.
everyone.
I tried. It is working, sir.
Yeah, everyone confirm that. Yeah. Now, how you can use it? Sometimes immediately it doesn't available. It takes some time. Actually, officially they say that 24 hours, but already I mean, suppose you have just taken the new domain and you are configuring all the things. Yes, it takes a lot of time to refresh it. But my domain was almost taken that. That's, I mean, I'm not sure, I didn't remember it. Yeah, it was taken the long back. That is already available on the DNS servers. So that's why it is very fast. Whenever I map it to the backend load balancer, immediately I'm able to get that application. But how do I verify that is actually that is working it or not? Yes, you can take this domain, just remove that all other, yes, that's links. And which type of the record we have created? A type of record, right? Or A, R4A, or CNAME. Which one you have created, you can choose that the type of, and you can search for the DNS propagation checker. Yes, you see that my domain is available in all these countries, but some countries still it is Pakistan, yes, it is not available, and the Mexico also, but it takes some time. The Spain, and in some countries still that is not available. And now if you just observe that, it is showing that two IP addresses as a backend mappings. So on the basis of that availability, so it is going to route to that one of the server. So whenever you configure the new domains and mapping to the name servers, if the name server is it working it or not, how you can propagate it and how you can verify it is, yes, this is the site what is my DNS.net. You can use it about your domain and which type of the record you have created. Yes, select that type of the record and you can search it. Now you see this before Mexico was not there and Pakistan, yes, it was there, but now my domain is available in the Pakistan also. But still one more country, Singapore. But remaining, yes, you see that entire world, it is available my site. But it takes even the Singapore also, it comes back. So if you wait some time, yes, that's also comes back that. Are you clear about this application hosting with Route 53 DNS settings? So try with the free norm site, or if you are okay with that, spending that around 500 rupees something. Yes, go to that, the GoDaddy, still there. This could
So
be
here
start
you're adding the website also cost or it is free
a website.
template.
The hosting cost is there. So the default, if you take it, suppose, let me go ahead to the GoDaddy. But if I host it here, I need to change that down DNS settings also. So if you go to the website and they are giving the different options, um, they have the different plans. So where you can find it, area and expert, I don't need that. Yeah, so create a website or store with a website builder. So yes, you can try check it. So what kind of the website do you want to? Yes, they are giving that with the different templates. The spa type, cosmetics, life coach, photography, or you can search for that particular domain, something. Do they have this template for training? But the site is a slow, man. So the GoDaddy is everyone will GoDaddy, GoDaddy, GoDaddy. They are not, but they have the very good support, no issues. So if you're facing that issues, and if you go to the support, then immediately they responded. The response and everything is good. Yeah. So here you can see that. Yeah. You can take that. You can find the template. But it is taking that time to load it. Maybe is it my network bandwidth? I'm not sure. Yeah, so once you select the template and you can, I mean, yes, they are giving there some default 1 or 2 pages with a sample one, which you can launch it directly in the domain, and you can take it, the website hosting on the domain from the GoDaddy itself. But as per about our AWS concepts, how you can map it to the AWS domain, wherever it is, doesn't matter that. So we can configure the resources in our AWS, and we can map it the domain to AWS resources. That is about Route 53. Is it clear? The routing rules defining. Yeah, now everything is good. In all the countries, the domain can be accessible. It is not loaded. Okay, you can check it and you can explore it, their plans and all that. That is out of scope here, GoDaddy one. But yes, Route 53, how to configure it? The wherever you have the domain doesn't matter that. So this is the process. So what are the different types of the records, that is IPv6 or IPv4 or alias based, as we are trying to understand it? But what are the different policies? Yes, you can refer that the second video with the detailed approximately 2 hours class is there, which has been clearly explained. You can the browse the concepts, and this we can just practice all these concepts about the load balancer, about the auto scaling group, and with the Route 53. That means whatever this application which we are talking that, yeah, now the user is able to access this rnashik.co.in, which is configured at GoDaddy and with Route 53 and with the load balancer and the backend EC2 instances, which are in the 2 different availability zones. This complete flow of execution which we have done the practically. Any queries, questions on this, please let me know. And the next concept is the database. That's will come back. Interesting, right? Now we know that like how the applications are hosting in the internet, right? With the cloud. Any queries, questions? If you don't have any queries, then I'll wind up and we'll meet on Monday, and we'll go to that like discussing about RTS. We start about that. That is a backend component. Everyone, are you good? Just type that the good. Okay, good. I see there's 3 responses only. Okay, today joined less people. Fine, good. Fine. Okay, so that's all from my side for today, and we'll continue from Monday. So just to practice it, the load balancers and the lab guides are available. So just take it, those lab guides and auto scaling group, and with the policies also just to review about it. That is input tracking policy. Yeah, the tracking routing policy, simple routing policy, and a step-based routing policy. And Route 53. Route 53 also with the hosted zone. Hosted zone contain the records, and whenever you are creating a records, the types of the records and the different types of the policies. Simple. If you are able to remember these concepts, you can crack the interview. No issues at all. These are all things that is required. An auto scaling group, application load balancer, and routing. The rules, how do you define it? That means as if it is path based, as we are talking about it. That is one important concept, listener wise configuration.
Sir,
Please.
I'm not able to, yeah, one query. So I'm not able to start that AWS associate engineer yesterday. So I told, right? I'm not able to go there. I have the full path, whatever you gave me the path, but I'm not able to go to the before page to start it.
Okay. Can you share the screen and can you show
Yes.
me the screenshot in the WhatsApp immediately, that page?
I think it is disabled sharing for me.
Okay, I'll give the
Can you help me?
permission.
Yeah.